Hi guys, and I'm back again. I haven't been on YouTube for about 6 months, but I'm back, and I'm going to test out some new paints. They're metallic watercolour paints, so I thought I'd try them out. And so let's open them. So this is what they are. They're by Art Studio. That's the box, and this is what they look like. So those ones are the basic colours. When these ones are like the golds, and there's a grey in there, and they're supposed to be metallic. So what shall we do? I've got a trusty pen. Let's draw something and then we can test them out. So they look very metallic-y in the box, sort of look metallic-y, but I don't know how they're gonna be when they come out on the paper. So let's draw a witch, as it's nearly Halloween. Scraggly hair, long pointy nose, let's do a big flowing cape, like that. Another holding onto a broomstick, like so. Let's do something else. Let's do a cat. And now let's paint this in with my trusty water brush pen. So right, now let's paint these in. Start off with our hat. Get a bit of the grey colour. Get the trusty towel to dry my brush on, and it's a trusty watercolour brush. So it's coming off the brush okay. It's going on okay. It does look quite metallic-y, I must say. I'll have to leave that to dry before I can add another layer and do all the shades on there. Paint. Let's do her cape. Do a cape. What should we do? A cape. A nice green colour. There we go. So let's do her hair. Now I've got a nice white colour on the end there, which I'm just gonna try and do on her hair. Now the green looks metallic-y. The white doesn't look that metallic-y. But they are, from those colours that I've just done, they seem quite good. Let's do a top, a nice blue colour. The blue seems quite pale, because in the box the blue looks quite bright, and when here it looks quite dull. The blue's quite dull. So the duller colours, duller sort of colours. Then we'll do the trousers in that. I suppose with the more paint you put on the brush, the darker it is, I suppose. But do her face. Got a nice yellowy colour to do her face. So the paints themselves are okay. She can't quite like them. I quite like the paints. Quite good paints. And let's just quickly add a couple of shades into the face there. Normally I'd do a red. I've got like a darker orangey colour I can use. Normally I'd use like a yellow and a red, a pale yellow and a red, but to do my skin tones. But I just have these metallic paints, so I'm going to use those two colours. And now we can do a broomstick. So the colours are quite nice, and so are the paints are very the paints are very do a little tail on the cat there. The paints are very they're not very metallic-y, but they are quite metallic-y, so I quite like them. Add a bit more colour onto the hair. Yeah, I quite like them. Then we can use a bit of purple to add a little bit of shadowing on there. I find the purples and the greens, those colours are quite dull, when the grey and the grey is quite a deep colour, and that kind of browny colour, sort of browny reddy sort of colour there, copper sort of colour there, is quite are quite, you know, quite deep, quite darker than the other colours, which are quite dull. I kind of like them. So they are really good. So there's my witch. I have a bit more shade, but I quite like them actually. So I'm just gonna. I quite like them. They're not as metallic-y as I thought they were going to be, but they are quite. But they are quite metallic-y. Put a bit of green and the cat's eyes, but they are quite metallic-y. So okay. So they are quite good, and so I kind of like them. So that is the end of my video. So yeah, the paints are really quite good. Quite good. I quite like them. So I will use them again. They're not as metallic-y as I thought they were going to be. You know, I thought they'd be a bit more metallic-y, but you know, they are actually quite good for what they are. For being metallic-y, they are actually quite metallic-y, which is quite nice, which I kind of like them. So yeah, yeah, that's the end of my video. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.